Hello and welcome to another episode of Nothing Definitive. My name is Sam Carlson of NotDef.com. Today we're going to be talking about belief or a lack thereof. This is from an article I wrote on July 13th, 2012. When I was young, I was Christian. I grew up in a household that attended church, prayed on occasion, said grace around meals, and attended religious holiday services. It was a part of my life I accepted without question that helped define my reality. During my preteen years, I remember truly believing in God. I was attending a youth group where we talked about quote-unquote him as if he definitively existed. I was taking communion as if a real deity had sent a letter and demanded it. My friends were Christian, everyone around me seemed Christian, and to be otherwise was simply wrong. But fortunately, church is boring. Couple that with an inability to answer hard-hitting questions, and soon I was questioning my beliefs. Surely Christianity must exist, but maybe they got it wrong, I asked myself as high school rolled around. Well, maybe Christianity is wrong, but God must exist, I would reassure myself months later. I remember even deciding that Christianity and God probably didn't exist, but still feared the repercussion when I said things like, "God damn it," or "Fuck you, Jesus." Looking back, I find it both funny and disturbing to think how scared I actually felt whenever I thought anti-religious thoughts. It took years after abandoning Christianity before I could confidently make fun of Jesus, just in case. This is what disturbs me about belief. I truly believed that a magical deity existed. When I think back, I considered myself relatively intelligent, a logical person with a rational mind, and yet I was tricked into believing a fairy tale. I mean, for the love of God, there are unicorns in the Old Testament. Maybe if someone would have told me that earlier, I would have abandoned it sooner. But it's not all bad. I also consider myself generally optimistic and look for positives in even the darkest of scenarios. And what I realized was that Christianity and my strong belief in God, or perhaps the punishment of not believing in Him, allowed me to understand the power of belief. I walked away with a first-hand account of the grip manipulative doctrine can have over a person. Without that, I may have never learned this important lesson. During college, I still told people that I was Christian. Of course, I secretly wasn't sure. I still felt uneasy about declaring myself atheist until a couple years later, but the roots of dissent were in place. The belief structures Christianity tried to instill within me were crumbling, and for the first time in my life, I was beginning to see the real world. But this isn't where it ended. As the last brick of God's lie turned to dust, I was still presented with a dilemma. If religion had tricked me into believing their message, what else had been planted within me? Isn't it possible that religion is not unique in their methods of indoctrination? Worse yet, what if they weren't as obvious? My third year of college marks the beginning of my trek towards what I call enlightenment. Of course, I didn't know it at the time. My mind was fresh and open and ready to begin analyzing the world around me. I knew nothing of what enlightenment actually meant besides the images of monks meditating on mountains, and I believed my perspective was an accurate portrayal of reality. That didn't last long. Soon I was practicing self-reflection, reading new things, and imagining alternate realities. And for the first time in my life, information wasn't off limits. I could read about illegal drugs, explore dark thoughts, imagine realities in which I pursued paths previously forbidden. Doors opened in every which way, and I couldn't get enough. For years this went on. In fact, as I write this right now, I am over 4 years into this. Well, technically 5 now as I'm reading this, but when I wrote the article, it was 4 years. 4 years of self-reflection and deep thinking. The last year has probably been the most exciting ever as I completely let go of belief. No religion, no societal concerns, nothing but openness. And that's where I am today, a lack of belief, not nihilism necessarily, simply a vacancy, a world that no longer exists. My morals and principles have changed, but remain intact. My ability to soak up new information has increased tremendously, and I find it extremely easy to accept when I'm wrong. In fact, it's an important realization I had a while back. When you believe strongly in something, you'll feel very offended when it's targeted, even when you're wrong. You could be presented with data that clearly shows your mistakes, and yet you'll still defend it. Sometimes even violently, as we've seen throughout human history. But as you begin to let go and see the world as it really is, you realize how petty belief can really be. How it does almost nothing but manipulate your view of information. And yet it still seems necessary for many people. a reality without belief can be very bleak, and I won't lie and say it's been easy. Accepting that death may simply be the end, that purpose is subjective and ultimately meaningless, is a hard pill to swallow. But then again, the tough questions aren't supposed to be easy. A lack of belief is what I preach today. Let go of everything you know, not just religion, but politics, social norms, tradition, and everything in between. It doesn't have to be permanent, just long enough that you can view the world in a new way. Compare it to the past and see what you like better. I'm not advocating that all people must be belief-less, just that they give it a shot. It may reveal important truths previously impossible to attain. Okay, so that's what I wanted to read today. It's actually this is the first part in a series of belief-related articles I've been reading. I'll put a link to this particular article below and probably the other articles as well. Yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed that. If you thought it was interesting or useful, I try to regularly upload videos, and I've been posting more on notdef.com, notdef.com. So yeah, check them out. Check out the other videos if you want. Subscriptions help a lot on YouTube, so if you can please subscribe, that would be great. Like it if you liked it, dislike if you didn't, and if you do dislike, please consider leaving a comment with your thoughts, preferably constructive, so I can make changes and make the videos better and things like that. Otherwise, yeah, just thanks for watching and see you next time.